Little girl's running around behind me this morning while I was at Starbucks. And she reminded me about how that persistence pays. And I wanted to share it with you. She's about 3, maybe 4 years old. We're out there outside on the grass. She and her mom and her brother are behind me. And mom is on the phone. I'm assuming she's checking her email or doing some work, or maybe she's checking Facebook. I don't really know. I didn't talk to her. The little girl is bouncing around. She's running in circles. She's running up. She's running down. She's whirling and twirling around. And she says, Mommy, I want the doggy. Mommy, I want the doggy. The reason she says that is because right next to me, a fella and his wife come up, and he sits down, and he's got a dog, a beautiful dog, a long-haired shepherd kind of a dog, and to me it looked like the dog had a great big smile on its face, is waggling its tail, and it's excited about the kids that are right over here. And so as I'm sitting there eating my breakfast sandwich and drinking my coffee, I hear the little girl say again, Mommy, I want the doggy. Mommy, I want the doggy. And the mommy says, No, you don't need a doggy. You don't need a doggy. The little girl just continues to play. It wasn't seconds later, her brother, who's probably, I'm going to guess year and a half older. So he's 5, maybe 6, something like that. And he says to her, Slow down. You're going too fast. Be still. Slow down. The little girl just continues on. She just continues doing what she's doing. And then I hear her say, Mommy, I want the doggy. Mommy, I want the doggy. Mommy, I want the doggy. And the mom says again, only with a little bit more force this time, No, you don't need the doggy. No, I said no. And the little girl doesn't answer her. The little girl doesn't respond. The little girl just continues to play, continues to run up and down the grass, twirl around like a ballerina. And then her brother once again says, Sister, you need to be still. You got way too much energy. And the truth is, at that point, I giggled. I giggled because I wonder where he got that from. I'm just guessing that he didn't get that himself. He didn't come up with that himself. I'm just guessing that he was influenced by somebody older than him, maybe his mom, maybe his dad. I don't know the backstory. I don't know all that stuff. So the little girl, she just continues to play. She never answered her brother. She never answered her mom. She just kept playing. Finally, as time goes on, 10 or 15 minutes has gone by. The little girl has mentioned the puppy, the dog, 4 or 5 times. So Rebecca, here's what happens. The mom finally says, Would you like to go pet the doggy? Would you like to go pet the doggy? Next thing I know, the mom and the little girl are over scratching the ears of the doggy. And here's what I thought. I thought persistence pays. It was interesting what that little girl taught me this morning, and she reminded me of something. When you're really focused on something, what happens is not very many people, not very many circumstances can deter you from that. Whether it's good or whether it's bad. The little girl wanted the doggy, and she wanted to play. It didn't matter what her brother said. Slow down. Stop. Quit twirling. Stop that. She never answered him. She just kept playing. The mom was busy doing whatever she was doing, and the little girl wanted the dog. And so every few minutes, every once in a while, she'd say, Mommy, Mommy, I want the doggy. I want a doggy. I want the doggy. And mom would say, No, you don't need a doggy. And yet, the little girl never answered her mom, never said, I want the doggy anyway. Give me the doggy. Never threw a fit, never used a lot of emotion about it, just kept playing. Eventually, the little girl got what she was after. And I got to thinking about you and I, how that we're persistent about things, good and bad. How that we say things like, I want a better relationship. I want a career. I want this and I want that, yet circumstances come along that make the length of that career coming into our life or that new relationship, it's off in the distance. And so circumstances rise and we give up. We begin to pound on ourselves. I'm not worthy of a relationship. I'm not worthy of a career. I'm not worthy of being able to be up there doing what I want to do. And so what happens is our persistence at telling ourselves that we're incapable of having or incapable of doing keeps us from having and doing. And then there's some others of us that get something in focus. We get something in the, we see the finish line. We see the mile marker that we want to be at. And it doesn't matter how much circumstances tell us no. It doesn't matter what comes against us, what rears itself against us. We're going to have what we set out to do. It may not be tomorrow. It may not be next week. Yet we keep our eye on where we want to go. And we keep doing it, and persistence pays. So it's very important that we realize what kind of persistent words we're using. If we use words that put us down, if we use words to ourselves that diminish us, that's what we're going to get. For instance, a failure, I'm worthless, I'm incapable of having a good relationship, then what happens is we convince ourselves that we're incapable of having a good relationship. We're incapable of being able to get on that platform and do what we're gifted to do. Because we convince ourselves, we're persistent at telling ourselves we're unable to do it. And then it becomes not worth it in our minds, because what happens is this. This is what happens. What we tell ourselves, we dispatch little, if you will, little research agents, little nano thoughts that go out and find evidence to prove exactly what we're saying to ourselves. If we say to ourselves, I'm ugly, nobody will ever want me, nobody will ever love me, I made a big mistake. If we keep saying to ourselves, nobody wants me because I did this, we have this regret because of something we did, somehow we go out and find evidence to prove exactly that. The little girl this morning, 3, 4 years old, never even listened to her mother. She never even got emotional about her mother saying, no, you can't have the doggy. She just kept playing. And then every once in a while, she would be persistent. She would ask again, Mommy, I want the doggy. The little boy, her brother, her older brother, told her to slow down. Never once did she argue with him. Never once did she try to articulate and use her words to prove to him that she was worthy of being able to run around. Not once. There was not one time that she did that. She just kept running. She just kept running. Eventually, her brother began to run with her. And eventually, her mom grabbed her by the hand, walked her over to the dog. And the little girl not only got one doggy, but now there are 2 there. There's a little poodle, a long-haired poodle, and the dog, the big dog, the shepherd, and she got to pet both of them. She was very happy. She was persistent in what she wanted. Those things that you and I say to ourselves on a regular basis. Oh, someday I'll do that. Someday I'll go there. Someday I'll buy that. Someday, someday, someday. We're persistent in someday, and so that's what we get. The problem with someday, someday never arrives. And so we just do without. And every time we do without, we say to ourselves, well, that's what I deserve. I deserve to be without. I think that happens in a lot of things in our lives. We just kind of buy into, I'm unworthy. I think of two people that I read about from time to time. You know them. One, moms and dads all over the world have named their sons after him. The second one, I don't think I've ever heard a son named after him. Ever. One's name was Peter. The other name was Judas. Peter had made mistakes. Judas had too. Things had gone haywire for both of them. Yet one of them, instead of regretting all the time and taking his own life, what he did is he replaced what he had done for a new way, for a new life. I'm suggesting to you this morning the same thing that the little girl behind me as she played, she never spoke to me. I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm saying. She never spoke to me physically or with the words. Yet, as she played, she reminded me about how that I take my own life in not thinking of it as important. That I do what Judas did. That I just sort of give up and I think I'm not worthy. And so what I do is I find reasons to not live up to my desires and my passions. And I wonder how many are here this morning. How many you chimed in and you're here with me this morning listening in on this Setup Sunday. And you do the same thing. You cancel out your life. You regret some things. And so you cancel it out. And really what you do is you take the potential of your life because you're persistent in pointing out how you don't deserve it. You're very persistent on pointing out how that you don't deserve a relationship with somebody, how you don't deserve a good job, how you don't deserve health, how you don't deserve financial freedom, how you don't. And so you get more of what you say you don't deserve, but you get more of that because here in your mind, in your brain, in that apparatus that creates action in your life, it does not hear don't. What it hears is, I do deserve injustice. I do deserve lack of money. I do deserve unhealth. I do deserve sadness. And so, as you say, I don't, and you're persistent in I don't, what you get is more of what you don't. Because your mind, that part of your being that energizes you, that creates action in your life, doesn't hear don't, it hears do. And so you get more of that. So how do you turn it around? How do we turn it around? Again, the little girl this morning at Starbucks, she reminded me and taught me something. Remember, as I told you the story, she just was persistent in playing. She never argued with her mother about the value or the validity of her having that dog. She never argued, she never whined, she never cried, she never flopped down on the grass and cried and stomped her feet like you and I do all the time. Don't we? You say, I don't stomp my feet. Oh, I don't cry, I don't complain. Really? Yet you spend a lot of time telling other people how it's unfair that you don't have. How it's unfair that you don't receive. Is that not like a little girl potentially stomping her feet, throwing herself down on the grass? She never did that. Not only did she not do that, she did not verbally address her mom's reasoning. I'm going to suggest to you and I that when it comes to these things, what we do is we verbally answer them back, or we verbally say, I'm suggesting that we just stay persistent looking at the prize. We just keep going. That's what she did. As her older brother said, sister, you slow down. Quit twirling like that. She never once addressed him. She never once addressed the value of his statements. Never once. She just kept running and playing and laughing and giggling and twirling. And guess what happened? She influenced her brother to run, twirl, and laugh. First thing. Second thing, her mom said, do you want to go see the doggy? And as I said, she got 2 dogs out of the one request. I wonder what's in between you and what you really want. I think the first thing is you use the wrong words. The first thing is you keep saying, I don't deserve. I don't have. How come I don't get? How come nobody loves me? How come nobody wants me? You keep saying all the wrong things, and what you're doing is you're addressing these things, and as you address them, that's exactly what you get. I'm suggesting rather than addressing them, just stay persistent in what you want. If you want a relationship with somebody, then see yourself as somebody that's deserving of a relationship. Make yourself valuable in a relationship. Make yourself valuable. Quit thinking about that person and what kind of physical part you want. Think about you and being the best you can be. That's what the little girl did this morning at Starbucks. She's a little girl. She just played. She just kept asking, I want the doggy. I want the doggy. She not only got 1 dog, she got 2. Your finances are only going to be as good as you see yourself able to handle. Oh, I know. Some of you might think, well, I'll win the lotto and then I'll have a lot. And the same habits you have now, you'll do with the lot, and eventually you'll have right back where you are now. You have to learn how to manage what you have. You want to be more successful and accomplishing during your day, then you have to manage the minutes that you have now. You have to decide ahead of time what it is you want. Persistence pays. Whether to gain good things or to gain diminishing things. I think one of the best ways to see yourself as a valuable person to start off with is when somebody compliments you, when somebody comes into your life and they compliment something about your character or your looks, rather than trying to be the humble person saying, oh no, it's not like that. I think that you could just say thank you. Yeah, that kind of came out of kind of random, you think. No, listen to what happened. When the mother finally put down her smartphone, paid attention to her little girl, it's interesting what happened. The mom wanted to give the little girl the doggy. And so she said to her daughter, you want the doggy? You want to pet the doggy? You know what the little girl did? The little girl said, thank you, Mommy. Yes, I do. Thank you. And so they walked over there. Now, if that was you or that was me, maybe I would say, no, you said I couldn't have it. I don't want it. And maybe threw a fit then. Huh? Oh, you were supposed to be here last week. And rather than saying, I'm so glad you're here now, I'm so thrilled that you're here now, what we do is we focus on what we didn't have when we originally wanted it. Not the little girl. The little girl said, thank you, Mommy. And they walked right behind me, and she petted the dog. She got what she wanted. Now look what else she got. Not only did she get what she wanted, her little brother got a surprise. He got to pet the dogs too. And the mom got to interact with the little girl and her little boy. And then they went back over there, and guess what the little girl did? The little girl said, "Thank you, Mommy, for giving me the dog. Thank you." And she went on playing. I wonder, what's your persistence paying? If you keep thinking and saying you're unworthy, I could never have a relationship with a person. I could never have a relationship with more money, with a better automobile, with a better house, with fulfillment. If you keep saying that you're not worthy, you'll never have it. Even if somebody was to come along and give it to you, you would do something to get rid of it. You'd become your own saboteur. And so, on this Setup Sunday, as we get ready to begin a wonderful week, I encourage you to get rid of the word don't and no and replace it with yes, I do. That's what I want. And be persistent. And I'm convinced that over time, your persistence will pay you great dividends, and they'll be good. And the good dividends are lighter than the bad dividends. The bad dividends come with a lot of weight, don't they? Weight of depression, weight of disappointment. And yet, when we just keep doing what the little girl did this morning, 4 years old, just kept running, just kept twirling, just kept enjoying life. Mommy, I want the doggy. Mommy, I want the doggy. No, you don't need the doggy. She just kept running. She just kept playing. Mommy, I want the dog. Now, I know what some of your parents are thinking. She was just a nag, and that's why Mom gave in. No. I think the little girl understood something beyond her cognitive thinking. I think she understood something deep within. She understood that persistence pays. I'm suggesting to you that persistence pays in your business, in your career, in your love life, in your relationships, with your money. Whatever you persistently think about and say to yourself, that's what gets paid to you. Listen, I'm Matt. I'm your friend. And I'm looking forward to seeing you and hugging your neck. You can email me at success@mattupton.net, or you can call or text me anytime you want at 916-708-8103. Hey, enjoy today. It's Setup Sunday.